Before we get started tonight, ladies and gentlemen, on the episode here, a fast break for iSports Radio, I want to talk to y'all about the last nine years of the company. For the last 9 years, iSports Radio has been bringing you amazing content, ranging from interviewing legendary athletes to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. All the while, we've been continuing to be about the fans, for the fans, and with your help, we are ready to take that next step. When you go to our website, iSportsRadio.com, you'll see our Patreon link with 5 different tiers. The first one starting at just $5 a month. This donation gets you shout-outs on all of our 32 of our shows. Higher tiers include iSports Sports Radio merchandise, access to our podcasting university, even a chance to be featured on a segment of our flagship show, The Defining Moment. Thank you all very much for continuing to make iSports Radio great for all of sports, and thank y'all all for making 9 years special here on the network. Now, on to the show. On tonight's broadcast here for Fast Break, live on iSports Radio. On tonight's broadcast, we'll discuss, are the Lakers and the Celtics in trouble against their respective opponents? Can the Nuggets complete the sweep against the Lakers Monday night and finish them out 4-0, or do the Lakers have some fight in them left? Plus, the Miami Heat's on revenge against the Boston Celtics, what happened last year. Can they finish the job in Miami? Or will the superstars in Boston, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, wake the hell up? Plus, we'll talk about the NBA draft lottery results. Victor Wembanyama, seems like he's going to the Spurs. What's going to happen right after him in the draft? And lastly, rumors and stories are coming about James Harden. Did he get Doc Rivers fired? Is he headed back to Houston after forcing his way out a couple years ago? Who knows? We'll discuss that and much more here live on iSports Radio. You're direct free for all sports, and you're welcome to join us. And join us as you shout tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Lots to talk about, lots to get into here on the interwebs here for iSports Radio. Lots of basketball talk about with these two series here in the Western Conference Finals. Lots to discuss about all that good stuff. D-Lock, how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing well, man. Very shocked so far by what we've seen in both of these series, but doing great.
I mean, that's good to hear. Let's hop right into it. I think we'll talk about Miami, Boston here in a second, but I think the main one is Lakers, Nuggets. The Nuggets are up 3-0 in this series after they win Saturday night in LA. Jamal Murray was once again hot again for the Denver Nuggets. He had 30 points, D-Lock. 30 points in that first half. And I wouldn't say that spelled doom for the Lakers, but, man, he looked great. In that, first few minutes. Now, granted, second half, only must have 7 points. But still, that first half of things was great. 37 points for him, 24 points for Jokic. He had foul trouble, but he finished off the game strong. where you needed him to be. 15 points for Bruce Brown. He's been phenomenal in these playoffs. Caldwell Pope shot the ball very well. 17 points for him as well in the starting lineup. When you watch this game Saturday, what are some observations that you took away in this game? You know why the Nuggets won and why the Lakers lost. What are your thoughts on the game as you saw it?
Well, remember when it first started, one of the things that I continued to say was, fact is, when we first talked about predictions, me being a big LeBron James fan, definitely wanted the Lakers to get, to win the series. But the thing about it is, I know the Nuggets are a very good team. And I said the Nuggets in 6. We talked off air, and what I said was, I think I said even on air, I said that the chance that the Lakers have in this series is they need their guards to play very good.
Yep.
And right now, D'Angelo Russell is not playing good. And the guards are not really doing too much. Dennis Schroeder's not doing too much. I think Bruce Brown is in D'Angelo Russell's head right now. They've been trash talking all series. So that's one thing is the guards have not been playing well for the Lakers. I haven't seen too much from Austin Reeves like that either. But also with that being said, they're not playing good, but also LeBron is not playing good as well. Hate for that to be true, but facts is facts, results are results. Anthony Davis is being Anthony Davis, have a great game, disappears, and have another good game. You already know the inconsistency that you're going to get from him. But for me, and like I said, I think that's one big thing. The Lakers, their guards need to have a better game. Jokic is going to be Jokic. So that's one big piece for me as far as on the Lakers side. As far as on the Nuggets side, I mean, they're bringing the energy off the bench. Jamal Murray was, a couple of games ago, haven't done that much. The first 3 quarters, and he comes back the fourth quarter and gets to cooking. So that proves a lot to me. It tells me that this team they're very good. And I said it before. So Jokic is gonna, like I said, Jokic is gonna get Jokic numbers. Aaron Gordon's playing very consistent. Their bench is coming in, playing a big role. Like you said, Caldwell Pope looks like a totally different person. Now that he's in Denver, but he couldn't make them damn shots when he was in LA. So for me, I just think that the Nuggets are a better team overall. Not just a starting 5, but the rotational guys. And Darvin Ham is going to have to make some adjustments to get shit cooking for them. This is a long stretch for them. It's going to be a hard one to get through. I believe there hasn't been a team that's been down 3-0 and came back and won the series. So they're going to have to get to it. They got the work cut out for them to get it done. But right now, you need everybody on the Lakers team to play better. And for me, it does start with LeBron, but I think more importantly, at this point, I think it's the guard play. I think that's going to play a huge part on what happens the next game and so forth.
I think for me, I'll go to the Nuggets side of things. I think for them, Joker's getting in foul trouble. Didn't really help things at certain points. Despite Jamal Murray having his big first half, I mean, he came back strong in that fourth quarter and what you needed him to do. Passing, shooting, free throws made. I think that was, your best, if you broke the script, per se, how for the Nuggets to win their game, that's how you wanted it. Murray coming out hot and strong, and Jokic finished things strong, against the Lakers bigs. But I want to shout out 2 players, Bruce Brown and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Both of those guys play very great in certain spots of the game. Scoring, handling the ball, making shots when they need to. They play very, very well against the Lakers. Have all playoffs, really. And you kind of see how fleshed out this team is. You know, from like since George Karl, was the coach at the organization, now up to Mike Malone. You still see how fleshed out this, these rosters be over the years. Guys knowing their roles, guys that just good overall players. You just had to find that superstar to build around. First was Carmelo Anthony. Now, years later, is Nikola Jokic. So, the Nuggets play. They played great. Everybody contribute well. And I think it went a long way for them winning. Now, do I think Michael Porter Jr. could play a little better? He could play a little bit bigger when they went small and stuff like that, and especially when the Lakers were small. I kind of wish he played a little bit bigger when his size is, 6'10", 6'11" guy. If you're that size and you playing against that Lakers small lineup, but you got to play bigger than that, dog. You got to play a little bit bigger. But other than that, everybody was playing great. They didn't let up. They had big leads. They didn't let it up. To a point, you thought you were going to lose the game, but they kind of stayed with it, hitting their shots more consistently than the Lakers. And they came out on top. On the Lakers side of things, the positive, Austin Reeves is about the real only positive here. Now, some of y'all say, well, by Anthony Davis, he had 18 points and 18 rebounds. Played 42 minutes. Well, yeah, it may be true, but it's just like, you wish at times he would step up more defensively at certain key points and kind of swung the momentum that way. And when it comes nut cutting time, he didn't really do that. Especially down low, you had like guys like Murray and Bruce Brown down low making layups while he was down there, not having a hand up and stuff like that. You wish he would challenge those shots, and it probably swung the direction of the game differently in my eyes. LeBron James. He's been shooting very poorly this series. From the three-point line. Very poorly. If we go back to game 2, y'all watch that game, that very last minute, him and Anthony Davis took some bad shots. First was Anthony Davis on the right-hand side shooting that 3. Had Austin Reeves wide open. Right next to him. Austin Reeves kind of got them back into that game to that point that they could have, possibly won that game. Go back to that last minute and 10 seconds of that game. Anthony Davis tried to take a three-pointer. Had Austin Reeves right open right next to him. Austin Reeves calling for the ball. Didn't pass to him. Anthony Davis missed the shot. LeBron, he got that steal off Jokic out the inbound. Took away from him like a defensive back. Y'all go watch that play. LeBron took it, dribbled it, went down along the baseline against 3 Nuggets players trying to make a layup. Weedu missed it. Had Austin Reeves wide open for him on the wing. I'm not saying Austin Reeves made both of those shots in the game 2, but damn it, if he did, it went a long way. If he made 1 or 2, great. If he missed both, hell, he was wide open. You made a great play right there. So, it's just, at certain points, the Lakers have kind of shot themselves in the foot in this series. And then you get to the Darvin Ham's coaching. It seemed like after game 1, and like into the first quarter of game 2, D'Angelo Russell was not a good look in this series. It's like you can get away with him not playing good defense. Well, I can't say that. Again, solid defense against the Warriors, but then you look on the other side that those guys, they say they play hard defense and good defense, all that stuff, but that's bullshit. But you can get away with him having sticking out there. Because how Golden State plays. Here, you can't do that with him. He can't stay in front of Jamal Murray. He can't stay with Caldwell Pope. You know, it's just like, what are we doing out there? And then offensively, this guy, if he's not on, he's one of the guys, he's got to be on. If he's not on, he don't bring you nothing else. And we probably had to put this subject in the back pocket when we like getting close to like talk about off-season stuff. But we talked a little bit after here before the show, and I thought about this last night. There's always that story around about Kyrie. The Lakers probably like letting a lot of hope guys go to sign Kyrie. And I'm one of those in those camps saying, let's just see how everybody look out past trade deadline. You know? Now you kind of look at it now. Malik Beasley, dud. Hasn't been great since he's been with the Lakers. Russell, here and there, you know, to be honest with you. Jared Vanderbilt, very good defensive player. You know, I wish they kind of use him more differently offensively and stuff like that. Kind of like a point forward type because he got a little bit of a handle. But boy, oh boy, he needs to work on that damn jump shot over the summer. You know, Rui Hachimura has been very great in the playoffs. I mean, don't lie about that. I mean, he's been shooting the ball excellent this playoff run. To the point, I don't know if the Lakers can keep him or he price himself out to somebody else. But he's been playing very excellently on both sides of the ball. This kind of make you wonder, like, what he's doing differently here compared to the Wizards. But anyways. And back to the Kyrie thing real quick, D-Lock. The way Russell's been playing, and I know Kyrie's okay defender, but offensively though, he gives you a different dimension. And if you could sub out a D'Angelo Russell for a Kyrie and make your team better, I'm all for it. Find a way to keep Austin Reeves. Find a way to keep Rui Hachimura. You know. I'll say you got to go for it. I was one of the people like, okay, you get Russell back into the fold of the Lakers, you know, redemption and stuff like that. But he and you know, the ball was in his court to prove to be that third guy. Or at least be that second guy with Anthony Davis for the next few years. But he's dropped the ball. In the world of Triple H, he dropped the ball. But it's just like, damn dog. We look at the metrics and stuff like that. It's just bad when he's on the court for the Lakers. And I said on Twitter that Darvin Ham, he probably had to switch, put Dennis Schroeder and Lonnie Walker in the starting lineup in place of Vanderbilt and Russell. And Russell don't like that. Tough tits.
My thing is, I just feel like you know now we're seeing that they're gonna put Mo Bamba in rotation. I mean, what? I mean, I said it before the series started. Jokic is gonna be Jokic, and to be honest with you, hell, you would rather him eat than everybody else. So they have to figure out something. At this point, they got to shoot better. You have to figure out how. If it was me, I probably would try to start playing small ball a little bit more. Because I think that their best opportunity is for their guards to get cooking. Now, I don't think they get swept. I think they win this next game. But for them to win, and when they do, I think that D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, Dennis Schroeder, I think they're going to wake up. And I think that's what it's going to take. Because you're not beating the Nuggets down low. It's not going to happen. You maintain Jokic, Eric Gordon can go off. Michael Porter can jack up threes. So they have to figure this shit out. But, the Nuggets are prime and ready right now. They're playing great. And I can say the same for the Heat as well.
On blowback, I disagree with you. I think also, at times I wish Reed's defense, man-to-man defense, is more sound at times. But offensively, he's been great, especially like later on in the games and stuff like that when you need some shots, and he's been stroking them. So I disagree with you there that Reed need to wake up. I think he's been fine. For the Lakers, it's just like those other guards, mainly Shooter and Russell. Walker, he's been solid when he's supposed to when he's playing. Mo Bamba, I don't know, man. It's just if you kind of look at things now, you probably wish you didn't give up Patrick Beverly. If you kind of look at it now, and Mo Bamba, I know he's been hurt, but still, you kind of look at it now and like, even with the Warriors series, you kind of wish you had Pat Bev in the fold right now. Because he'd been great in this series. If you pull on Murray, and you could, and that's the thing, you still got Schroeder. Still got Pat Bev. Darvin Ham finally woke the hell up and put Lonnie Walker back into the lineup. You got those guys that you rotate, cycle out. Okay. You guard Jamal Murray for a little bit. Okay. All right, Pat, I need you to slow down KCP for a little bit. He's getting a little too hot for my liking. So forth. Because you signed Tristan Thompson. And you just signed for a few months, all that stuff. So, if you're going to sign big, there you go. You didn't have to go trade for Mo Bamba and all that stuff. There's like cheap veterans out there. All that stuff. Hell, Greg Monroe's sitting out there. Tobbs Gitch and stuff. What I'm saying. You just didn't have. You just kind of look at things now. It's just like, did you have to make that trade, from Obama? So we're going to see, man. I rather play Tristan Thompson than Obama and see what that gives you. But hold on, we'll see how Monday night goes. What's your prediction for Monday night?
I definitely see the Lakers getting this win. But I expect a huge game from D'Angelo Russell and all the other guards, in my opinion. Just because Mo Bamba is active don't mean that he plays a lot. I think he's just a guy that they may bring in to give Anthony Davis a little bit more of a rest. But this game is going to rely on what them guards do. I said it before the series. I thought that Malik Beasley would play more this series, and he has not seen not one crumb of minutes. Get him in there and give him a chance and see what you can cook up because this team is not slowing down. They got to get this right. I think that they win this game, but now you got to go to Denver.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think the Lakers will win this game. It'll be close. If I'm Denver, I'm trying to go for the kill and get this series over with. Because the way, when we get ready to transition, the way Boston and Miami has been looking, we could be looking at a sweep of the other side. But I got the Lakers winning Monday. It'll be a close one. I foresee Denver finishing out Wednesday in 5. Just the way the series is going, the way the things been playing out, I think Denver finished off in 5. But to the other side of things, D-Lock. Before we get there, I want to shout out to the chat real quick. Shout out to Larry B, the founder. How you doing tonight, sir? Shout out to Mike Pat in the chat. Shout out to Adam Karnick in the chat as well. Go to the comments real quick. Mike Pat saying, what are the fascinating set of conference finals so far? Yeah, it is. And let me say one more thing about the conference finals. Everybody thinking the Lakers will come in and win this series. Not, and it kind of brushed aside Denver being like the number one team in the West for the majority of the year. Let's not lose sight of that, ladies and gentlemen. Like Denver was like one of the top teams in the NBA for the majority of the year for a reason. And Nikola Jokic should have got MVP votes, to being honest, thanks to mushmouth Kendrick Perkins. But he should have got some MVP posts this year for his play, and it didn't happen. But let's not forget about Denver being the number one team against a number 7 seeded Laker team that barely got into the playoffs, mind you. Let's not forget about that. So, I just got to get that off my chest. Let's not forget about Denver being one of the more consistent teams in the NBA. But going back to the comments, Larry saying the Lakers are so trash. Anna Karnick saying, good evening. How you doing? And how in the world is Miami up 2-0? We're about to discuss that right now. Mike Pat saying, I don't agree with him often, but Nick Wright called it. This Miami team is not your normal 8th seed. Adam saying, NBA stars really play defense, though. They should. But he also said, don't usually that fall more on the role players. I want off on my guys play defense, but that's just me. But to transition to the Eastern Conference, D-Lock, you got Miami, Boston, just now tipping off. Miami up 2-0.
Whooping their ass already, too.
And they're up 2-0 in this game. That's tipped off. They're up 2-0 in this series. Game 2, Kevin Love just made the 3-pointer. Jimmy Butler has been the talk of the series. At one point in the fourth quarter, last game, Boston was up double digits. And then Jimmy Butler woke the hell up, took over, along with the help of Bam Adebayo and Caleb Martin, who played excellent off the bench. 25 points for him. Boston, yeah, you got 34 points to Jason Tatum, but Jaylen Brown was damn near non-existent in that game. They're going on with Al Horford as well, Marcus Smart as well. When you look at the series, D-Lock, what do you see? What are your reasons why you see Miami up 2-0 against the Boston Celtics?
I think, for one, Miami is going in, being counted out. Before everybody's saying, well, Miami doesn't have a chance. That Boston will sweep them or whatever the case may be, which I thought they would probably win 2 games. I don't know for sure. I didn't believe they would win that many. But Jimmy Butler is one of the sole reasons. I mean, right now, no Victor Oladipo, no Tyler Hero. He's leading the charge. This Heat culture that they have created over the years, it seems like the Heat culture and Jimmy Butler fit perfect. I mean, we talk about the history of Jimmy Butler dealing with Philly, dealing with Minnesota, saying these guys are soft, X, Y, and Z. We've heard the history, the stories, even in Chicago, and it just seems like his energy is perfect for what Miami needs. So for him leading the charge, first game, 30-something points, 35. He's doing about 7 assists, 7 or 8 assists. Next game, he comes back with 27. So he's bringing a hell of a lot more energy. But with him leading the charge, Bam can follow. And with those two, I think that is playing a big part. We talk about big trades and big signings over the season that make a big impact. Well, Kevin Love is showing that right now for them. I think that right now he, like you said, he just popped that three a few minutes back. But it's just the fact is this team is very resilient. Having Jimmy Butler, the person that lead, they don't give up. We usually see a team like this that has maybe one star, and they get put out the first series. And we've seen this before with Jimmy Butler in the bubble. This is the energy that we've seen. We've seen him and Kawhi Leonard are very similar. They get in the playoffs and they're just act totally different. They're totally different. But the biggest thing is that I think that's playing a huge part also is Eric Spoelstra. If we underestimate his coaching, this is proving that he does belong, and this is one of the reasons why Miami won't get rid of him or they won't let him go. I think that this team sticks around. I was telling one of my friends yesterday, or when they played a couple of days ago, when they were up by 6, I think Boston late, and he was like, "Oh well, Miami's not going to win." I'm like, "Shit, this team finds a way. You let them stick around long enough, they're going to find a way because they play great defense." And I think that is what's definitely helping them out. So playing good defense, then you come back and then you get your shots up. Caleb Martin playing pretty decent. Kyle Lowry is a very good defender that helps when he needs to. He's been making clutch shots recently. Caleb Martin. So when this stuff comes around, this team is showing that they belong. But also what helps is the fact that you're motivating a team that kind of like a David versus Goliath. Nobody was expecting Miami to be this far, being that they were a play-in team. So they're clearly motivated. And they got the perfect matchup from last year. They faced them last year. Jimmy Butler said, "We'll get it done the next time around." And he's proven that so far. So to me, we clearly know that Boston roster-wise is the better team. But Miami, as people say nowadays, it's like Miami they have that dog in them, and it starts with Jimmy Butler. And they're finding a way to get things done. And I think a huge, huge piece that we did not think, this is why I give a lot of credit to coaching, is the fact that you put Kyle Lowry on the bench. You got him coming in with the second unit. Now, he's not a guy that's going to go out there and get you 25, 8, and 7. But he is a good leader for that second unit to keep things going. This is what I say about Bruce Brown, with the Nuggets. He's bringing a great energy, playing a huge part just for that second unit. And that is huge. So, now obviously, winding down the minutes, the fourth quarter, second quarter, they have Kyle Lowry in there with Jimmy Butler, for important possessions. But, it's showing to me that having a leader like that with your second unit, that is a big thing. And very much kudos to Kyle Lowry for accepting that responsibility. Usually somebody who was on the NBA championship team starting, now he's with a different team coming off the bench, leading the charge, being that leader. So I think that plays a big part. When it comes to Boston, it just seems like so much is leaning on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They just cannot, if Jason Tatum is not having that game, they struggle. And clearly the person that is on Jason Tatum is Jimmy Butler. Right now you're looking at 3 for 10 for 3-point land the last game. For Jason Tatum, 10 for 50% field goal, which is decent, but you can't shoot 28% for 3-point land as a team.
No,
that's not going to help. So for me, I think that's a big part. Miami is playing, like I said, we haven't seen too much from Derek White, who started the season as a starter. They've kind of rotated him with Robert Williams, had Robert Williams start and begin the season with begin the series with Al Horford, and we see how that has played out. So for me, leaning so much on Jason Tatum, I think has made a big impact on this team. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see what happens this game tonight, and game 4. I don't think that they get swept. But 2 games in Miami and that culture is going to be pretty tough.
For me in this series, I always shout out, the Heat in this way, how they found these undrafted guys to become big contributors for their squad. Strauss, Martin, Robinson, and Gabe Vincent. I want to shout out those 4 guys, but those 4 guys have been making very solid contributed to this team for the past couple of years. And Caleb Martin, Friday night was very excellent off the bench. 25 points for him. He scored the ball very well. It just goes a long way, for them, shows how much depth they have. And, you alluded to, you think the Celtics got a better made roster. I was like, well, those 4 guys right there, I shouted out right there. I play for a reason. Granted, Boston can turn to the bench and go with Grant Williams and Brogdon and Robert Williams. But I just felt like those other 4 guys have been playing more better. Maybe not Brogdon because he was 6th man of the year, but it's like, getting those guys challenged, Brogdon toe-to-toe in production and in the production department. Yeah, sure. As you see right now, Boston has come back in this game, and they're up by 2 points, 14-12. With Jaylen Brown kind of waking the hell up a little bit, but Jimmy Butler is kind of leading the charge. His attitude is kind of leading the charge against the Celtics. They want their revenge back, in a sense. And this is where we at right now. 2-0. Like Adam Karnick brought up in the chat, or was it Adam or Mike? Let me pull it up. No, it was Mike saying this Miami team's not your normal 8th seed. And that maybe, could be true. Because they've been playing great. All NBA playoffs. Took out Milwaukee. Took out the Knicks. And then now, we'll see if they can take out the Celtics. But the way they've been playing, hell, they might sweep the Celtics. And, in order for them to sweep, Jimmy Butler's got to continue to play well. Bam Adebayo, he's got to continue to play well. And those 4 guys I just mentioned, I think for Miami to win the series, those 4 guys got to contribute each game. At least half of those guys got to be having solid games for Miami to win. If that can happen, Kyle Lowry continue his solid play, off the bench, I think Miami got a good chance of sweeping them. I don't think it happens, but they got a good chance of doing it. You know, and if Miami's get matched up with Denver, I hate to get ahead like this, but if Miami gets matched up with the Denver, that's a very good matchup. You know, Bam, he can stay with Jokic. Bam's like one of the more versatile defenders out there in all basketball. I'm not just talking to NBA, I just like basketball in general. Because you can stick a Bam Adebayo in the EuroLeague or the top league in France, you know, Greece, somewhere like that. And his versatility, how he plays and stuff like that, how he handles the ball, you can stick it anywhere. He's one of the best players in the world, in my opinion. So, you know, predicting tonight's game the way it's going right now, I'm going to bold D-Lock. I'm going to think Miami's going to go for the sweep. I think Boston. My thing with Boston.
Ooh.
The thing with Boston right now is just, I think culture for a little bit. I think Missoula's not there yet, and you kind of probably like a subject we kind of discussed later on. But you kind of start to run there. I don't say, well, we'll see down the road. But, you know, I know they got a code of conduct in the Celtics, but did they possibly get rid of Ime Udoka too soon? Did they give up on that horse too soon? Time will tell. But some of his adjustments and stuff like that hasn't really hit the spot in coaching and stuff like that. Now, granted, some of the fallen players, like I said, Jaylen Brown had an abysmal game too. And then at times, Jason Tatum in his playoffs, you know, just looked non-existent until certain points. But we'll see how tonight's game shake out. But I think Miami's going to go for the sweep. I would love to go for them to go for the sweep and get it over with. But I think they get it done.
Yeah, they're going to go for it.
So, before we get off the air, we'll talk about the score of this game and see we'll go from there. I do want to talk about the draft lottery real quick. The ping pong's landing in the Spurs' favor, D-Lock. They get their number 1 overall pick, Victor Wembanyama, 7'4" big man from France. Will probably land with this. Will land with the Spurs in their first overall pick. They got the number 1 pick over the Charlotte Hornets, in which the Hornets fans, you gotta be sick. Y'all that close getting the top overall prospect, but you know, Brandon. If you take Brandon Brindley number 2, that's not a bad consolation prize. What are your thoughts on Victor Wembanyama as a prospect, D-Log? I know we probably ain't talked much about him. I know ESPN was kind of really gassing him up in the pre-draft lottery coverage, in which, by the way, this sucks. I hope they lose their draft coverage soon. Send it back to Turner or something, because it sucks. Rose shouldn't be on TV.
Boosting heads. That's what he's doing.
Well, it's not even that. It's just like when they said Victor Wembanyama was like the top prospect ever. When he's saying that stuff, I was sitting there watching like better than LeBron. I was a freshman in high school when LeBron was a senior. Even the year prior, you know, the hype for LeBron was unprecedented at that time. And granted, yeah, we had the internet, but you still had print media was a large influence still. You know, TV, you know, you don't got like our smartphones like we do now and stuff like that. So you still had to watch TV. They had like people like Dick Vitale, Jay Billis covering his game and stuff like that back in the day. That's how big LeBron was. They didn't do this for Victor. I mean, they did like they showed a game of his against the G League elite team, but that's really about it. You know, if the league think this NBA, I'm speaking of, if they think this kid is the next big thing, then you have to showcase him better. Get someone agreed upon with this French league and get some more games broadcast on NBA TV. Promote it, something like that. You know, on a Saturday or afternoon, something like that. You know, when you lead in before your game, something like that. You know, something. But Woj and ESPN, you know, and some lady named Monica McNutt, I don't know where she came from. Saying the best prospect ever. It's like, dog, better than LeBron, better than Yao Ming, better than Sidney Crosby, better than Ken Griffey Jr., Wayne Gretzky, you know, so forth. I could go on and on and on. What are your thoughts on Victor Wembanyama? I'm sorry for rambling, D-Lock, but what are your thoughts on him going to the Spurs? And is he the next in line behind David Robinson and Tim Duncan to kind of carry the Spurs for the next 10 years or so?
I mean, I think he's a very good pick for the Spurs. The expectation of him being the next LeBron or better than LeBron is a big stretch.
Yeah.
But he's definitely going somewhere where, you know, you got Popovich, who we don't know how long he's going to coach, how much he has left. But I'm pretty sure whenever he do leave, they're going to leave that franchise in good hands. But that's a very good pickup for the Spurs. I mean, for me, I think that knowing what you already have and, you know, some of the, you know, the key pieces, because right now, you know, we talked about it when it came to DeJounte Murray and trading him. You know, they knew they were tanking. You know, they knew that they weren't going to be that good. So, you know, they respected DeJounte Murray, sent him somewhere where he could compete, which the Hawks didn't. But that was the purpose. But now looking at having a Devin Vassell, Kendall Johnson, and Jeremy Sochan, you know, as your core, you know, with the Trey Jones. So for me, I think that Victor is the perfect fit for the Spurs. Now I think, you know, most leagues now in any sports is about a win now mentality. And they want to see somebody come in that's going to win right now. But certain franchises, you know, you see them replace the good athletes or the good players that they have. I've always said this about the Packers. We've never really seen the Green Bay Packers be a sorry team in our life. Why is that? Because they replace the most important position every 15 or so years. You know, they had Brett Favre. What happened? They went and got Aaron Rodgers. So going to grab Jordan Love a little early, which was a big shocker to a lot of people, maybe it's his time to move forward with that franchise. So I say that to say that we're looking at the Spurs doing something very similar. You know, the Spurs were very good for a while. They lost one of their biggest stars. They had Kawhi Leonard. They were expecting a lot. I think he was going to be the actual guy next, you know, from the Tony Parker and Tim Duncan era. But that went bad. So they went on a run of few bad years. But they'll be back solid because of having a draft pick like Victor. So for me, I definitely don't think he's going to be a LeBron James. I mean, come on, man. This man has been to so many NBA Finals, you know, and has multiple championships. So it's going to be and he's a scoring leader. It's going to be very hard to be better than that. We having this conversation in about 20 years. We'll see. But for me, I think that him going to San Antonio was a very good piece. Uh, I just, with Tim Duncan playing how he did in San Antonio, we still consider him as one of the better players to ever play the game.
Oh, yes.
I can only imagine what kind of numbers Tim Duncan would have had at a Detroit or an Orlando or any one of these teams where he would have been just the main guy. We know that San Antonio is one of those teams that put a group together and win. So I think Victor is a pretty good piece, and I think we'll see the benefit from the Spurs, a year or two from now. But it's going to take some time, and I think Spurs fans got to be patient with it.
Real quick for me, them getting that number one pick, and then reports saying that their big three of Duncan, Ginobili, Parker are going to help mentor this kid. I mean, if you need anybody to kind of help mentor this kid, it'll be those three guys within that organization. If Charlotte got the number one pick, would that be a good spot for him? The way things going on there, and then MJ and stuff like that, would that really work out? MJ is potentially trying to sell the team, but if he probably would back off if they got the number one pick and got this kid in the fold and they start winning. And then the potential of him and LaMelo Ball would be nice, but Mitch Kushpack in that front office, Steve Clifford as the coach, would that be a good fit for him? Detroit, we don't know who the coach is yet. They still in that process, so I don't know. That would be a good fit there because they got Wiseman, Jalen Duren there as a backup. I mean, your bigs, and then Isaiah Stewart off the bench. Somebody would be gone, but would that be a good fit? Portland, they're probably a good fit, but chips didn't fall their way. Houston, same thing. Chips didn't fall their way as well, and they got new coaches. Well as Yume Yakata. But you got Tillman, the owner, who's kind of thirsty to kind of get back on top and win things. So, like you said, I think the Spurs are probably like the best fit for this young man. And how quickly can it turn around? It's hard to say. As long as his health's there, sky's the limit. They got some decent talent, but I think you can. I mean, you got the draft picks from Atlanta. Maybe you trying to get like a veteran in there to kind of, take the ease off this kid for a little bit and just go from there. But I think when Charlotte gets to number 2, I think that's the draft getting interesting. Do they go ahead and select Brandon Miller with that pick? I think that'd be a great fit for Charlotte with him, and you find a way to get rid of Gordon Hayward and his contract and move on that way. But Spurs getting him, I think it'd be great for for him in the league and Popovich as well. That's the only thing I hate is just like ESPN going overboard with the coverage of it. I understand trying to sell, but it seems like you got the wrong people talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Woj talk like a person that really don't understand sports and basketball for a matter like that, and it shows. Yeah, you're a good insider, but can you teach a zone defense to like 11-year-olds? You probably can't. So it's like, y'all just chill out. We'll see how things go. We'll see. And one too long ago, y'all was saying the same thing about Anthony Davis. And one too long ago, he was saying this about Ben Simmons. So let's just slow down. We'll see what the kid does. I'm rooting for the kid. I'm interested in see how he does. You know. He's 7'4", can move and stuff like that. It'd be kind of real interesting to see if Chet Holmgren would play this year and how he would play and stuff like that, how he would look. And we probably got some idea how Victor would look coming in. So it's going to be interesting to see, how things going to work out for him. Because if he comes in and be right, and we talk about the 2 timeline thing, Golden State, that seems like out the window now. The Lakers, you don't know. Denver seems pretty solid for the next few years. New Orleans up the air with Zion. Dallas, they got Luka, but he can't carry the load by himself. Phoenix, they got Devin Booker, but DeAndre Ayton's on his way out. So Spurs may get lucky with a generational talent again. But like I said, time will tell on this. And I'm writing a mock draft now and stuff like that. So I'll push it to Mike Pat and sit down for iSports Radio for y'all, the listeners, to read. But time will tell, D-Lock. Let's say time will tell. But I'll give you the final thoughts.
No, I'm with you. I definitely, like I said, it's going to be very interesting to see how this plans out for Spurs, and does this impact how long Pop wants to coach. So, again, you see that potential. You see what you can do with it. It makes a big difference. We see what Magic did for the Lakers, so what others have done for different teams. So, we'll see. I definitely am excited to see how this plays out in the rest of the draft. Especially with my damn Magic having that sixth draft pick. What the hell we gonna draft now? Another guard?
Time will tell, but we'll see about this time next month. But this has been our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in with us. Lots of good talking, stuff like that here on the show. Lots of things we discussed, and all that good jazz on there. Miami, Boston, right now it is 30-22 at the end of the first quarter, with Miami up by 8. Can they maintain that and go along with the sweet prediction that I said this a few minutes ago? We'll see. 3 more quarters to go. D-Lock, how can people find you on social media?
You guys can find me at Black-813. Let them know they can find you at and the show's page.
Follow us on Twitter at FastBreakerIESR. That's FastBreakIESR. Do follow iSportsRadio.com on all your social media feeds: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube as well. iSportsRadio.com. Get the latest shows, news, and feeds on there. Also blogs as well on there as well. The SoCal Sprint Show, hosted by one Terry Rodriguez, is right behind us. Do follow me on Twitter at Spawn4288. That's Spawn4288. Do another show inside called The Crooks Process. Do follow the show on Instagram and Facebook. You see the CP logo on the profile pic. I did post another episode up on Spotify. So look up The Crooks Process on Spotify. I did post another episode there. Talk about the Titans draft picks and all that stuff. And all that good jazz. But till then, next week, ladies and gentlemen, will we previewing the NBA Finals? Or are we still talking Conference Finals come next week? Time will tell. But till then, we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.